On this web extra, this gives you some details that were left out of the show because we didn't have enough time. I'm using calipers to size the disc. This needs to go down ever so slightly when you turn using the round carbide cutter by Easy Wood Tools here. I'll turn it on. And the larger the diameter, the slower the speed. But in this case, it's well balanced, so I can ramp it up to about 900. I'll get a better cut that way. And as long as I keep that chisel flat to the tool rest, not like that, everything's going to be good. Face shield down, and here we go. I just go right in there, and I can go uphill, I can go downhill with this cutter. And just that little bit right there, I'm sure it took me to the finished diameter that I need. So let's check it out. That is perfect right there. Okay, so that's how you use a round cutter on the edge like that. And there's some end grain here, but zero tear out. And that's because of the special cutting edge on that cutter. Now move the banjo and readjust the tool rest so I can finish off the bottom of this trim piece for the columns that are part of the bed show, and that's just a hair too high, and that will not give me a perfect cut. So the cutting edge of the tool needs to be right at center line, and it is. Now the faceplate holds it securely. And when do you use the live ball bearing center on a turning? Whenever you can, whenever it's not in the way, to help stabilize either the disc, in this case, attached to the faceplate, or spindle turning. You always use it. So there you go. Unless you're using a 4-jaw tuck, chuck to turn boxes. Man, that thing weighs 30 pounds. Heavy. So I bring this over here like that. This is secure now. And what I can do is use that round cutter to take off that nib right there. So let me get the cutter. It's up to speed, making sure the banjo and the tool rest are securely locked. Face shield down, right on center line. And I want to create a slight concave shape. Since this is going to be flat to the ground or the base of the column, you can't have a hump in it. It has to be slightly undercut at the very least. And then the other thing is, from a safety standpoint, get in the habit, these are good safe turning habits, of whenever you move the banjo or the tool rest, make sure that the lathe is turned off. It really upsets me when pro turners show people what they can do. Well, the truth is, that's right, they can do it. But that's not a safe technique for most people who don't spend hundreds of hours on the lathe every year. Now the other thing is, when I sand, I want a good NIOSH 95 dust mask, and the key is I'm sanding in this bottom quarter right here. Not here because it's going to throw dust up in your face. I'm just going to bring that up to speed. Whenever you sand, the tool rest is definitely off the machine. And watch what happens here. I'm only doing that briefly. See how it throws the dust away from you? Still, you want good dust collection and N95 dust mask when you sand this. This is Southern Yellow Pine, high resin content, not something you want to breathe, and that's recycled wood. Now, I'll let you get set up to come over to see how I finish off this shoulder on this side. Once the bottom is slightly concave, and it will stay flat then when it's laid down, I need to finish off this shoulder. And I'm just stepping that in 1 3/8, and that's a great tool to figure out how far that needs to go. So you can see I need to take off about ½ inch of material. And to do that end, I'm using a square carbide cutter, and I'm keeping this chisel flat to the tool rest. I've locked the tool rest and the banjo in place to make this cut happen safely. So I'll turn it up to speed, like that, face shield down, and again, I use this hand to hold the tool rest or the chisel flat to the tool rest. And I can just go straight in, and then I can use the other sharp edge to finish that profile around the corner, to radius that ever so slightly. I'll just change that. The control hand is on the handle. The other hand has one job to do, and that's just hold the chisel flat and secure to the tool rest. Boy, I can really smell that southern yellow pine. Beautiful. Now let's check everything. I think I've got it there. No, it needs to go down another 3/8 of an inch. Boy, did I misgauge that one. So, carbide cutter, cutting edges up, like a hot knife through butter. Moisture content on this piece of southern yellow pine is right at 9%. Let's check that. Finish that off, save a little bit of sanding right there. So, no, it needs to go down a bit more. You can't put it back on, you certainly could take it off. So you want to step your way into this, just like that. I think that's got it. So there are some great, yeah, that's perfect. There are some great turning tips for you. What's the number one thing in turning? Do it safely. What's the number one way to do that? Use sharp chisels. And the cool thing about these easy wood cutters, whether they're the detailer, diamond shape, the square, or the round, is when the edge eventually gets dull after 2 or 3 hours of turning, you use a small Allen wrench on that Allen head right there, and you rotate it until you have a sharp edge. Now with that delicate Allen, I've learned one thing. You clean off all the resin from the wood dust, because wood's only 3 things. It's lignin, which is glue. It's about 1/3 glue. It's extractives, which are the terpenes in this case that you can smell from the southern yellow pine. And it's cellulose, which gives it its strength. It's a skeletal frame of wood. And what happens is that's a nasty gummy mess on fine threads, especially as the cutter would heat up, it bonds to that metal. So the easiest way to release that Allen without stripping the head out is to get out a match, light that match away from any flammables, and hold it right on that Allen for about 4 or 5 seconds. And then what that does is it plasticizes the lignin, makes the glue less sticky, and you put that Allen wrench in there and you can ease it right out. There's some great tips. Now, go turn some beautiful things.